It is the height of summer. You have left the kitchen door open to let the warm air move through, and within the hour they have found you. Flies, circling the fruit bowl, lighting on the butter, walking across the bread you left to cool. You wave them off, and they come right back. You buy the strips that hang sticky from the ceiling, the cans of spray, the little electric zapper that hums in the corner. 3, 4, $500 across the years, and still, every July, the same buzzing at the window and the same fly walking across your supper. Now, I want you to sit with this. There are farmhouse kitchens, plain ones, with the door standing open onto a working farm, with no screens and no sprays and no zapper humming anywhere, where a fly simply does not come in. I have stood in such a kitchen and waited to see one cross the threshold, and none did. The woman making bread there was doing nothing at all to keep them out, or so it seemed. But she was doing a great deal. She had simply been doing it so long it looked like nothing. There is no luck in a kitchen without flies. There never was. There are a handful of plain old habits that keep them out, and a few simple things that turn them back at the door, and not one of them is a poison, and the whole of it costs about $1. You can do every bit of it before the weekend is out. I will show you why the flies come, how to give them no reason to, how to turn them at the door and the window with nothing but herbs and vinegar, and how to catch the few that slip past. I am Annie Stoltzfus. I am Amish, from Lancaster County in Pennsylvania, and I have kept a summer kitchen open to the air my whole life, the way my mother kept hers, and her mother before her, on a working farm, with the door standing open and the flies staying out. Today, I will show you the old way. One thing before I show you how, there is far more of these old ways than I could fit into a single video. So I gathered them into a book, 66 of them, the kitchen and the cooking pot and the breadboard and the rest of the house, with the honest savings written beside each one. It is at amishkitchenwisdom.com for anyone who wants the whole of it. I will not bring it up again. If you would like it, you know where to find it. Now, let me show you how we kept the flies out. The first thing, and the root of all the rest, is to understand why the fly comes at all. A fly does not come into your kitchen for the cool of it or the company. It comes for the smell of food, the ripe fruit, the dirty dish, the scrap in the bin, the spill not yet wiped. A fly finds its way almost entirely by its nose, drawn from a good distance to the smell of something to eat or something to lay its eggs in. And here is the whole truth of those clean farmhouse kitchens. The fly stayed out because there was nothing inside calling it in. Take away the smells that draw it, and you have done the greater part of the work before you ever hang a single herb. So the first habit is the plainest, and the one most folks skip. Give the fly nothing to come for. Wipe up every spill the hour it happens. Keep the fruit bowl covered with a light cloth or a mesh dome once the fruit is ripe. Cover the butter, the milk, the bread. Do the dishes rather than letting them sit in sweet water. And above all, mind the scrap bin. Keep it shut, empty it often, and rinse it now and again. For an open bin of kitchen scraps is the single greatest invitation to a fly that a kitchen holds. A kitchen with nothing out and nothing to smell is a kitchen the fly passes right by. The second thing is to keep the breeding ground well away from the door, and this is the real secret of the farm kitchens, though folks seldom guess it. A fly is born in filth, in manure, in rotting matter, in standing water. On a well-kept farm, the manure pile, the compost, the wet, low ground, all of it is kept a good distance from the kitchen door, never just outside it. So the flies are born and live their lives out by the barn, where their food is, and never have cause to drift toward a clean kitchen with nothing for them. If you keep a compost pile, or a dog run, or a bin of any kind, set it well off from the door you use, and you move the whole fly problem away from your threshold before it ever begins. The third thing is to keep the air moving, for a fly is a poor flyer in a draught. A fly likes still, warm, settled air. A steady breeze through a doorway unsettles it and turns it back, which is one reason the old kitchens were placed and built to catch the cross-draft of a summer day. You can do the same. A door and a window opposite each other to draw the air through, or a fan set to push a steady current across an open door. A fly will think twice about beating its way into a moving stream of air when there is easier ground elsewhere. The fourth thing is the herbs the fly cannot abide. And here is where it costs you next to nothing and makes the kitchen smell sweet besides. There are several plants whose smell a fly dislikes and will turn from mint and basil and lavender chief among them. The old way was to set a pot of basil on the windowsill where the flies would enter, and to hang small bundles of dried mint and lavender at the door and the window. A few sprigs of fresh mint in a cup on the table, a basil plant on the sill, a tied bunch of dried herbs at the frame. All of it gives off a smell pleasant to you and contrary to the fly, and turns many of them back at the opening without a single thing that could harm a soul in the house. I will tell you plainly, this turns flies. It does not work a miracle. It is one layer among the others, but it is a pleasant one and a safe one, and it has been done in plain kitchens for longer than anyone can say. The fifth thing is to catch the few that get past with the old traps that cost nothing. The first is the clove-studded lemon or onion. You take half a lemon or an onion and press whole cloves into the cut face of it and set it on the table or the sill. The smell of the cloves repels the flies from that spot. The second, and the surer catch, is the old vinegar trap. You pour a little apple cider vinegar into a cup or a jar, add a single drop of dish soap, and set it where the flies gather. The vinegar smells to them like ripe, fermenting fruit and draws them in. The drop of soap breaks the surface, so that when they light on it, they cannot rest on top, and they are caught. A jar of vinegar on the windowsill will gather up the stragglers that slip past everything else, for pennies, and harm nothing but the flies. Now let me take a moment, for this is where it comes together. Give the fly nothing to come for. Every spill wiped, every food covered, the scrap bin shut. Keep the breeding ground, the compost and the wet, well away from the door. Keep the air moving, for a fly hates a draught. Set the herbs it cannot abide at the sill and the door, the mint, the basil, the lavender, and catch the few that get past with a clove-studded lemon and a cup of vinegar. 5 plain habits, none of them hard, none of them poison, and the whole of it for about $1. And here is the thing to carry with you. There is no money in teaching folks to keep flies out with a wiped counter, a covered bowl, and a sprig of mint. The store would far rather sell you the strips and the sprays and the humming zapper, season upon season, year upon year. Nobody runs an advertisement telling you to cover the fruit and shut the bin and hang a bunch of mint at the door, because there is nothing in it for them to sell. So the knowing of it got quiet, the way the good plain ways do when there is no profit in saying them aloud, kept alive in farmhouse kitchens like ours, passed from mother to daughter, while everyone else went and bought the can. So this week, before you buy another strip or spray, do the plain things first. Cover your fruit and your butter, shut your scrap bin, and wipe your counters clean. Move the compost off from the door. Set a pot of basil on the sill and a cup of vinegar beside it, and hang a little mint at the frame. Then watch, over the coming warm days, how few of them find a reason to come in, and tell me in the comments, how did your mother or grandmother keep the flies out of the kitchen in summer, and what old trick worked best in your house? The little tricks are exactly the kind of thing that gets lost when nobody writes them down, and I read every one. Until then, keep the plain things close. They were never half so simple as they look.